Let's talk politics for a minute. We had a couple of events this weekend, as I mentioned at the top of the show. We had many of the candidates, not Trump, in Iowa being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, aired on The Blaze and is available on YouTube if you want to check it out. Then we had Trump and a couple of others show up at the Turning Point Action Conference down in Palm Beach. And I watched all of the Tucker interviews in Iowa. My own take on it, Kim, you tell me, is DeSantis is getting better. He's getting a little bit more deft at handling the tough questions, but I don't know that it's going to make a difference, right? Is it too little, too late? And I realize we're overall early in the process, but there's speculation about whether he just launched late. He missed the opportunity to run that momentum out of his big win in Florida, and he's never been able to get close to Trump again in the polls.
So I think there's a couple of things going on when I look at DeSantis. I think you're right. I think he might have launched at the wrong time. I also think that he's made the mistake. They've admitted this recently, that they bulked up a little bit too much on the staff. They're bleeding a lot of money, and they spread themselves out a little bit too far. Like, he's got to be focused more on Iowa and the early states, not the rest of the country. If he can't make it there, he cannot make it anywhere. So they seem to have acknowledged that. Look, the thing that I think I'm seeing with DeSantis is I think he's chasing Trump voters a little bit too much. I'd love to see Ron DeSantis be Ron DeSantis. That's what got him so far in Florida. We're hearing a lot about him on like cultural issues and the swamp, et cetera. I want to hear him talk more about economics. I want to hear him talk more with an actual vision on foreign policy. And I just don't feel we've had that yet, because I think he's been a little bit too micromanaged.
He did start taking shots at at Trump on Fox over the weekend. He started to say about, the debt that Trump ran up, that he didn't build a wall, only 50 miles of wall. And that is definitely a strategy shift. I do wonder, Kim, why did it take him so long to realize that the entire campaign thus far has been on conservative media that's devout to Trump. And he hasn't moved the needle at all. And it seems to me, because he's also going to sit down with Jake Tapper of CNN, he's sitting down with me as well, finally. He's
Right.
finally realizing he's got to get out. He can't move voters inside the Trump, tent. They're Trumps. And he's got to do something to reach out to a broader group.
That's right. You could not have said it more perfectly. I've always believed that as we go into this primary, that Donald Trump starts with about the base he had in 2016. If you saw him in all of the primary polls, he usually came up 32, 35, 40%. It could be even a little bit higher just because he was president. I still think he has that very united support. Nothing Ron DeSantis says is likely to peel those people off. But that means there's a whole bunch of rest of the folks in the party who are open to a message. I think that DeSantis has the record to certainly move those people and get a look, but he's got to start talking about that a little bit more instead of, again, just chasing after Trump voters.
Here's a bit of Ron DeSantis at the Family Leadership Summit in Des Moines late last week, and his messaging on the possibility of a Gavin Newsom getting into this race.
I'm fully prepared to have a Florida-California showdown and let the people choose what's the better vision for the United States of America, because I'm very confident that the freedom in Florida is what more people would choose rather than the public defecation on the streets of San Francisco.
He claims he actually witnessed that happen when he went out there, Kim. I mean, it's not hard to see in that city or in New York City, where I personally have witnessed the same. CNN, this comment comes as CNN reports, slow pace of Biden's reelection campaign feeds Democrats' 2024 anxiety, and reports as follows: top Democrats and donors reaching out to those seen as possible replacement presidential candidates for Biden. Get ready, they urge. Biden will not actually be running for reelection, despite what he says. It does add that the very few aides who have been hired for his reelection campaign dismissed that as absurd. So could we, notwithstanding Trump's dominance in the polls and Biden's dominance on the Democratic side, actually be looking at a race between a DeSantis, Newsom, or two candidates who we're not spending all our time talking about?
It is absolutely stunning to me, Megyn, that there has not been a challenger to Joe Biden. He is so weak in the polls. Nobody wants him to run for the presidency again. And a lot of these guys have name and star power, like a guy like Gavin Newsom. It's just perplexing to me. Also, Biden seems to be broadcasting that he's not that interested, right? He's not out there doing events. He's hardly got any staff. Yes, they pulled in a decent amount of money. It's certainly a good number, but what are they using it for? And I don't know if the question is that they're actually have some strategy to pull out at some point. I don't know if it's simply that the president can't be bothered because we've got an old guy in the office. Maybe it's too much to actually go out and campaign. But either way, it's remarkable to me that nobody on the Democratic side has taken advantage of this situation.
I know. I mean, you've got RFK Jr. out there. You should have heard how NPR, I listen to NPR's Up First in the mornings, how dismissive they were of him today. It was like, well, there's this other guy who's a conspiracy theorist who's in the middle of an anti-Semitism controversy. It's like he made this remark over the weekend that got blown up. In any event, they have no time for RFK Jr., notwithstanding the fact that his poll numbers are remarkable, given somebody who wasn't even able to get on social media about 6 months ago, right? They've got to be a little fearful of him. And there's a report out today that Joe Manchin may indeed be running as a third-party candidate with this other group that's threatening, if it's Biden-Trump, they're going to push a candidate, and it may be Joe Manchin. So should we be looking at that? Do you think that's real?
I think people should be looking at no labels very closely. Look, my view is that, we have a system in the United States that really only kind of caters to two parties. It's very difficult for third parties to make it run. But we are in an unusual situation where a majority of both Republicans and Democrats are not enthusiastic about the lead people for their nomination running again. Meanwhile, if I'm Joe Manchin, okay, given how the Democratic Party has treated me over the last 2 years, what loyalty do I have to them at the moment? He has shown a lot, I have to be honest, given the pummeling and the protesting they did outside of his houseboat and the attacks he's received in the press. But no labels, this third-party outfit, it's got a ton of money. It's getting a lot more. It's vowed to try to get a placeholder on every single state in the country. And watch this space, because they're going to get closer to the moments of the primaries and make a decision. And, if Joe Manchin looks and he doesn't think that he has any viable path for reelection in West Virginia to the Senate, and it's not looking good, why not go out with a bang?
Right. Oh my, I mean, you're right. I'm sick of the two-party system. It would be great if we had another meaningful lane where somebody could get on the ticket and just give us another choice. I don't care if it's a spoiler or not. It's about who people want, having choices. Try to explain to your kids why you only have two parties in the United States. It's like, they don't get it. Especially because we're registered independents. They're like, what do you mean? Do we get to vote in primaries? I'm like, it depends on the state in any event. Summer used to mean I was kicking off the sheets every night to try to stay cool. Perhaps you've been there. But that all changed, thanks in part to my discovery of Cozy Earth bedding. I now sleep comfortably, even on those hot, awful nights, and you can too. Simply swap out your current sheets for soft, breathable, temperature-regulating sheets from Cozy Earth, the brand with thousands of 5-star reviews, including my own. If you do not agree that you are sleeping cooler, more comfortably this summer, they will refund your purchase price plus shipping, no questions asked. And you get 100 nights to try them out. How can Cozy Earth make such a guarantee, right? After 100 nights, if you don't like it, send it back in, you get a refund. How? Because their bedding is made from viscose, from bamboo, so it traps less heat, enabling people to sleep cooler, more comfortably year-round. For a limited time, save up to 40% on Cozy Earth. Go to CozyEarth.com, enter my promo code MEGYN at checkout, and that will save you up to 40% off your order. Try them for 100 nights. If you don't sleep cooler, send them on back in for a full refund. CozyEarth.com, promo code Megyn. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.